With all of the dynamic warm-ups and anything that you do at the beginning of practice, quality over quantity. When quality starts to decline, your athletes have had enough. It's analogous to striking a ball or shooting a basketball. We would not want to perform incorrect form over and over and over again. If we're making muscle memory right now, it needs to be muscle memory of really good movement patterns. Okay, so with dynamic warm-ups, we're going to again maintain nose breathing. And the number of repetitions is going to be based on your athlete's age and attention span. We need to meet the physical and emotional needs of the athletes. We need to meet them where they are. And in our blog on dynamic warm-ups, you will see how many reps are recommended for which age groups. Because the feet hit the ground first, we're going to start with some toe walking. And then jog it out. Then our next one up is heel walking. Pulling the toes to the nose, letting a natural athletic arm swing take place. Next up, knee to chest. The purpose of the exercise is not only pulling the knee to the chest, but it's to activate the glutes and the hips, making a stable core, maintaining balance and focus. Drop the leg, take 3 steps, and the other side goes up. Holding it, pausing, maintaining that core and that stability, leg down, and the other side. After your designated number of reps for each side, jog it out, down and back. Next up, quad pull and reach. Again, the focus is on quality of movement. Pausing at the end before we switch legs, taking a few steps, alternating sides, reaching high with the hand, thighs together, looking straight ahead. 3 steps and switch sides. Important to grab the front of the ankle and not the foot. Nice tall posture, good quality. Jog it out. Okay, hamstring scoops. The purpose of this exercise is to develop the ability to hinge at the hips and give a little wake up to the hamstrings. We're going to go over the traditional way to do this and why I'm going to show you a much better modified version. The traditional way for a hamstring scoop would be to bring the leg out and reach with both hands for the ground. But as you can see here, the athlete is not hip hinging, they're rounding their back to get down toward the hamstrings. Come on back up. And instead, we're going to have the athletes put their hands on their hips, bring the leg out, look straight ahead, and hinge forward. Getting a nice activation of the hamstrings, a little bit of length, and coming up. Taking our 3 steps and repeating the other side. The spine follows the eyes, so the athletes are cued to look straight ahead. After the designated number for each side, the athlete jogs it out, down and back. Circling hip or closing the gate, opening the gate. One thing we want to make sure with this exercise is that the plant leg remains stable. We're working on stability and mobility. So at first, just like many of these warm-ups, we need to take it slow, work on quality before we add any speed. So for hip out, take the hip out, place the foot down, take a step, hip out, place the foot down. Again, we're working on mobility with stability, keeping nice tall posture, breathing through the nose. After the designated number of reps, jog it down and back. Now we're working on hip in. Again, focusing on posture, stability with mobility, quality of movement, control of the entire body, and jog it out. The next phase of the dynamic warm-up, we're going to speed things up a little bit. We're going to go into our butt kicks and our high knees. First, we're going to go over the importance of doing this. This is part of good running form. When we do a running cycle, it's a butt kick into a high knee. So we're going to break that down and warm up each piece. First, we're going to show you what a butt kick is not. It is not literally kicking your butt. First, we're going to walk the butt kicks. We're not going to add any speed until the movement is absolutely clean. So let's begin by walking the butt kicks, cueing the athlete to snap the heel up. They should feel their hamstrings. Arms should gently move in a coordinated fashion. We get to a certain point, we jog it out. Once the walking form of butt kicks looks good, we're going to add a little bit of speed. We're going to do jogging butt kicks. Okay? There we go. Still working on being quiet, as we do with all of our running. Then we have high knees. Again, we work on quality, snapping the knee up, pulling the toes up, coordinating the arm movement. Once we have that, we jog it down and back. Once that's developed, we're going to add some speed to the high knees. Okay. And we start to add a little speed when it looks good. And work on that, getting those knees up high, pulling the toes up, and jog it out. Barefoot training, strengthening the foot and the ankle are crucial for any athlete. With a history of ankle sprains and prevention of ankle sprains, these exercises should be done daily, prior to anything else. So we're going to have the athlete assume the athletic stance. Okay? Lifting the heels, rolling the inside ankle bone high, keeping the first and fifth toe engaged. The knee should follow. This is the ideal position. Keep going through some reps here. For takeoff and landing, for the athlete, we want to train strength and control in this position. If your athlete is struggling with quality through the motion, get up and hold instead for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Work on holds before you work on volume. If needed, we can add a training wheel. If we need some cueing from a band on how to do this motion correctly, place a small band around the ankles. Again, assume the athletic position. Lift up, rolling the ankle out, and then lowering down with control. A mirror in front of an athlete is a great training tool. First exercise in the series is the rollover. The goal of this exercise is to reduce the forward position of the pelvis that all athletes have. This is done in a partner formation. Go ahead and lie on your back, arms overhead, grab a hold of the ankles of your partner. With some speed, take your legs up, soften your knees, keeping that distance between your thighs and your chest, roll back down onto the ground, one vertebrae at a time, and repeat. Up, soften the knees, and roll down. Each repetition warms up the next repetition. We do 5 to 8 of these, depending on the athlete. The plank or the bench. We're going to start with the beginner version, move on to a little more advanced. Let's start on your forearms, take your legs behind you, and let's start with your feet wider than your shoulders. This is a good beginning position. We want to make sure the hips and shoulders are in line, the back is not sagging, and the head is in a good position with the ears lined up with the shoulders. The athlete should be able to breathe through the nose the entire time. Come down and rest. If that is easy and not a challenge for your athlete, we're going to bring the legs closer together. Again, making sure the hips, drop them a little bit, are in line with the shoulders. The ears are in line with the shoulders. The back is not sagging, and the athlete can breathe. Further advancement would be bringing the feet all the way together. Come down and rest. Quality over quantity for your planks. Reps and sets of hold are far better than long holds with poor form. A progression of the plank would be the plank with alternating leg lifts. We're going to assume our plank position with our feet all the way together. We don't start with this exercise unless this position right here has been mastered. Once we're here, we're going to slowly pick up one leg and put it back down and alternate. As long as the form is maintained throughout, you may progress with this exercise. Come down and rest. Once this exercise has been mastered, over a period of weeks, we can add a hold to this alternating leg lift plank. It would look like this. Come down onto the plank, legs are together, pick up the leg and hold for a period of 10, perhaps 15 seconds, alternating sides after that time period. Again, quality over quantity for everything we do. The side plank. Okay, we're going to lie on the side, knees bent to 90, top hand on the hip, and the athlete looks straight ahead. The cue is to drive their knees into the ground to take the hips up into the air. Once they've gotten to that position, they lift the top leg. This is the beginner. This is a little more advanced. If they can do it and maintain this position, lifting up, slightly rolling forward, and they want to hold that position anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds, lowering with control. 3 times each side. An advancement of the side plank. Once the athlete is able to get into the side plank properly, lift the top leg, maintain good form, and hold this for 20 seconds for 3 reps each side, we begin to move, lowering and lifting the hips. This is done for 20 seconds. Lifting up, leg long, lower, and come up and down. The Nordic hamstring. This is a wonderful hamstring strengthening exercises. However, this is advanced. We're going to go over this and then some regressions of some hamstring strengthening exercises you can use to get your athletes ready to do the Nordic hamstring. So for the Nordic hamstring, it's very important that the athlete and their partner communicate at all times. The partner must place very firm pressure on the heels, holding the athlete down. The athlete places the hands across the chest, lowers as slowly as they can, taking their hands out at the last minute, lowering all the way to the ground and pushing back up. Again, lowering and coming back up. In the beginning, 3 to 5 reps are used in each set. This exercise is a great regression of the Nordic hamstring, something to do for your athletes to get them ready to do the Nordic hamstring exercise. This is a bridge walkout. Arms are down by the side, feet are together. Toes are pulled up. Lift the hips into a high bridge. Slowly walk the legs out, 1 step at a time, as far as you can go without dropping the pelvis, and then walk it back in. Once you're all the way in, you may lower the pelvis to recover, and then come right back up for the next rep. Okay, squats are often used in many strengthening programs. However, all athletes, especially female athletes, are quad dominant, so we do not need to facilitate the quads. In fact, we want to get in more of an athletic position, a position where the feet are not parallel, and do some strengthening. We're going to do some holds because we're going to put these muscles at their end range and work on strengthening tendons, ligaments, and eccentric muscle strength. Most injuries occur during the deceleration or change of direction phase of the movement, and this is a great prevention piece for that. So we're going to assume a nice slow lunge. If they have trouble with balance, they can widen their stance as low as they can, distributing the weight equally between both legs, and there's going to be at least a 30-second hold. We're going to be working on vertical jump. Most important part of this is the landing. When the athlete drops down to load, we want to make sure that the knees do not drop in. The partner is going to be the mirror, and they need to give each other good information. You're going to cue your partner to keep the knees apart as you drop down, jump up nice and high, land quietly, and stick the landing. Here in the landing, we want to make sure we have our hip hinge, a nice straight back, knees apart, and good balance. Again, we go into our next rep, we load, we explode, and we stick that landing. Good. After 2 reps here to make sure the athlete knows what to do, the rest of the repetitions are going to be with a staggered stance. This is because unless you are a power lifter in your sport, your legs are never in parallel. Your feet are always staggered. So let's repeat this in a more functional position. We're going to load and unload. The cue about being quiet is used here, and again, load and unload. The reps and sets for each side will be based on your athlete's ability. The progression from the vertical jump is a lateral bound. Again, the most important part of this exercise is the landing, where you're not going to increase speed or intensity until we have the landing. So the athlete will laterally bound from one side, sticking the landing to the other, sticking the landing to the other, focusing on that landing.